Welcome to the European Association for Higher Education Advancement's YouTube and podcast channel. Are you ready for a deep dive?
I am.
All right, we are diving into how technology is transforming higher education today.
Sounds good.
It's not just the newest devices or software.
Right.
It's a total shift in how and where people learn.
Absolutely.
We're going to look at some seriously fascinating trends from an article called How Technology is Reshaping Higher Education, published by the EAHEA, that's the European Association for Higher Education Advancement.
Right.
It's incredible how much things have changed, even in just the last few years.
Oh, absolutely. One of the most drastic changes has been the rise of online learning platforms like Coursera, edX, FutureLearn.
Yeah.
These platforms have just exploded, offering a huge variety of courses to anyone with an internet connection.
It's amazing that you can learn from top universities around the world, all from your own couch. Have you ever taken an online course?
I have, and I was really impressed by the flexibility. I could learn at my own pace, go back to lectures if I needed to, and connect with learners from all over the world.
Wow.
This is a huge change for people who might not have been able to attend a traditional university because of where they live, the cost, or other things in their life.
Yeah, it's so empowering. But I could also see how some people might miss the in-person interactions of a traditional classroom.
Yeah.
That feeling of belonging to a community can be really important.
That's a great point. And it's something many schools are trying to figure out with online learning growing so much. In fact, the EAHEA article mentions a trend toward hybrid learning models.
Okay.
These models combine the best of both worlds, the flexibility of online learning and the personal engagement of traditional classrooms.
So it's not just one or the other.
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot, mixing online and in-person elements to create a really dynamic learning experience. I find that really interesting.
Me too. And technology is a big part of making these hybrid models work. Think about Zoom and Microsoft Teams. They've become so common, allowing for virtual classrooms and remote learning. But it's not just about recreating a regular classroom online. It's about using technology to come up with new and exciting ways to connect and get people engaged.
I like that. So can we dig a little deeper into this? What are some ways technology is being used to make hybrid learning better?
Sure, some universities are using virtual reality, or VR, to make really immersive experiences. Imagine being in a lecture on ancient Roman history while virtually standing in the Colosseum.
Yeah.
Or dissecting a frog in a virtual lab without having to, actually dissect a frog.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like going on a field trip without leaving the classroom.
Exactly. These immersive experiences are especially helpful for students who learn best by seeing and doing.
I see.
But VR and AR are just one example.
Okay.
Other schools are using tech to personalize learning. Think about adaptive learning platforms.
Okay.
These platforms use algorithms to adjust the content and tests to each student's needs.
It's like having a tutor who changes the pace and difficulty level based on your strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly. This personalized approach can be very effective in improving how students learn.
That's great.
It keeps them engaged and challenged at just the right level.
I understand. But personalized learning isn't only about adjusting the pace and difficulty.
Right.
It's also about giving students content that they're interested in and aligns with their goals.
Absolutely.
So how do these platforms figure out what's relevant for each student? Is it like a quiz they take at the beginning?
It can be, but often it's more complex than that.
Okay.
Many platforms use data analytics.
Right.
They track students' progress, find patterns in how they learn, and even predict which concepts they might struggle with later on.
That's fascinating. It's like seeing into the future of each student's learning.
Yeah.
But I imagine there are ethical concerns about using student data this way.
Oh, for sure.
We need to be careful about privacy and use this information responsibly.
Absolutely. The ethical side of using data in education is something that needs to be talked about and handled carefully. But if it's used thoughtfully and ethically, data can be a powerful tool for helping students succeed.
I agree.
Imagine a system that tells teachers when a student is falling behind or struggling with a certain concept.
Right.
That early help can make a big difference.
That's a great point. It's like having a safety net that catches students before they fall too far.
Exactly. And this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how technology is changing higher education.
Wow.
We haven't even talked about things like artificial intelligence, micro-credentials, or how teachers' roles are changing in this new environment.
So much to talk about. It feels like we're just at the beginning of this technology revolution in education.
It does, doesn't it?
And as the EAHE article says, it's not just about the technology itself, but how we use it to make learning more fair, accessible, and engaging for all students.
Very well said. And that's a responsibility we all share. Teachers, policymakers, tech people, and students, we all play a part in shaping the future of higher education in this digital age.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a group effort. And one really cool thing is how technology is breaking down barriers to education.
Yeah, you're right. The EAHEA article talks about this too, how tech is making higher education more accessible to everyone.
Exactly. Think about it. Before, if you wanted to study at a top university, you probably had to move, which could be expensive.
Yeah, and there were limited spots at these big-name schools. It was competitive and hard to get into.
Right. But now, with online platforms, anyone with internet can access courses from some of the best universities.
Wow.
It's like making education fair for everyone, no matter their background.
It's powerful stuff.
It is. And it's not just about location. Technology is breaking down time and money barriers, too. With online learning, you can study whenever you have time, and it's usually cheaper than going to campus.
That's a big help for people with jobs, families, or other commitments. It makes lifelong learning possible.
Definitely. And it's not just individual learners either. Technology is changing how universities operate. For instance, a lot of universities use data analytics to make student support services better.
Interesting. How does that work?
Well, let's say a university is tracking things like attendance, grades, and online participation. By analyzing this data, they might find that students who miss a bunch of classes early on are more likely to drop out.
That makes sense.
Right.
So they can do something to help.
Exactly. They can connect the student with a tutor, give them advice, or even just check in to see how they're doing. This kind of early intervention can really make a difference.
It's like a warning system for student success.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be possible without technology.
Right. And that's just one example. There are tons of ways schools use data to improve the student experience, from planning class schedules better to personalizing communication and support.
Wow, it's amazing what you can do with data.
It is.
But I imagine there are challenges with putting these technologies in place. It's not always easy.
You're right. One big challenge is making sure everyone can access the technology and resources they need. We've talked about the digital divide, but it's more than just having a computer and internet. It's also about knowing how to use these tools effectively.
So it's not enough to just hand out laptops. We need to teach people how to use them and make sure everyone feels comfortable in this digital world.
Absolutely. That takes a multi-pronged approach. It's about investing in infrastructure, offering training, and making inclusive spaces where everyone feels empowered to use technology.
It's a shared responsibility between teachers, policymakers, tech experts, and everyone in the community.
I agree. And it's not just about access. We also need to think about the ethics of using technology in education. We touched on data privacy, but there are other things to consider too.
Like what?
Well, we need to be careful about bias in algorithms.
Oh, right.
If the data used to teach an algorithm is biased, the algorithm will be biased too. That can lead to unfair outcomes.
That's so important. We have to make sure the technologies we use are fair, equitable, and work for all students.
Exactly. This needs constant discussion, collaboration, and thinking critically. We need to be asking tough questions about how these technologies might impact people and work together to find solutions that benefit everyone.
It's a good reminder that technology isn't a magic solution. We need to use it wisely and ethically to make education better for everyone.
Well said. Speaking of the future of education, one trend I've been following is the rise of micro-credentials.
Micro-credentials. I'm not sure I know what that is.
Basically, they're short, focused courses that help you learn a specific skill.
Okay.
They're often online and take just a few weeks or months to complete.
So like a mini degree in a certain topic.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. And they're getting really popular as people want to update their skills or learn new ones to keep up with the changing job market.
That makes sense. The job market changes so fast that it's hard to stay on top of all the new trends and technologies. Micro-credentials sound like a good way to keep your skills up to date.
Right. They're also good for people who want to learn more for their careers, but can't commit to a full degree program.
So it gives people more choices in how they learn.
Exactly. And they're usually designed with input from industry experts, so you know you're learning relevant skills.
That's really helpful. It connects education with what employers need.
Definitely. Some micro-credentials can even be combined or stacked to work towards a traditional degree or professional certificate.
Oh, wow.
It's like building blocks that you can put together in different ways to reach your goals.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. The growth of micro-credentials is a super exciting change in higher education. It's making learning more personal, accessible, and relevant for today's learners.
It's really interesting. I'm curious to see how it develops. It seems like it could really shake up traditional education.
You're right. The EAHEA article even suggests that micro-credentials could become the main way people get higher education in the future. We'll see.
It's true. Who knows? One thing's for sure. The future of higher ed is always changing.
Yeah.
Technology is pushing innovation at an incredible pace. It's up to us to use it wisely to create a more fair, accessible, and engaging learning experience for all students.
I couldn't agree more.
It's amazing to think about how much education is changing right in front of us, but before we get too focused on the future, let's talk about one of the coolest things happening in education technology right now: augmented and virtual reality.
Yeah, AR and VR, what used to be science fiction, is now becoming real in classrooms. The EAAA article has some great examples of how these immersive technologies can make learning really exciting.
Okay, so help me understand this.
Okay.
I'm a student in history class.
Mm-hmm.
How could AR or VR make my learning better?
So imagine, instead of just reading about ancient Rome, you could put on a VR headset and be walking through the Roman Forum. You could talk to virtual Romans, see gladiator fights in the Colosseum, or even be part of a debate in the Senate.
Wow, that would be so cool.
Right, it's like going back in time.
Exactly. And it's not just for history. AR and VR can be used for almost any subject. Imagine exploring the human body from the inside in biology class, or doing virtual experiments in chemistry without blowing anything up.
That's awesome. It makes learning hands-on.
It does.
I can see how this would be especially good for students who learn best by doing things.
Absolutely. And it can help students with disabilities too. For example, someone who can't walk easily could use VR to go on virtual field trips to places they might not be able to visit otherwise.
That's a great point. It's about making learning inclusive so everyone can join in.
Right.
But let's be real for a second.
Okay.
These technologies are still pretty new, and there are some things to figure out before they're in every classroom.
Yeah, you're right. One big one is the cost. VR and AR equipment is expensive, especially for schools that don't have a lot of money.
That's true. But as technology improves, we can expect the price to go down, making it more affordable for more schools.
I hope so.
And we're already seeing cheaper VR and AR options. Another challenge is creating good educational content for these platforms.
Right.
It takes time, skill, and imagination to make truly immersive and engaging VR and AR experiences.
But that's where creative teachers and developers come in. We're already seeing some amazing educational VR and AR content being made, and I think this will only get bigger as more people see how powerful these technologies are.
I agree. As we get more content, more schools will start using VR and AR. It's a really exciting time.
It is. So as we wrap up our look at how technology is changing higher education, what are the main things you want our listeners to remember?
Well, the first thing is that technology isn't just an extra tool in education anymore. It's a core part of how we teach and learn now.
Absolutely. It's changing everything about higher education, from how classes are taught to how students are tested and supported.
Another key thing is that technology is making it possible to personalize learning, making it more interesting and effective for each student. We've talked about adaptive learning platforms, AI tools, and personalized feedback, which can all change how students learn.
And we can't forget about how AR and VR can create these incredible immersive learning experiences. It's a great time to be a student.
It really is. But we also need to remember that these amazing advancements come with challenges. We need to think about access, fairness, digital literacy, data privacy, and the ethical side of using these powerful technologies.
It's up to all of us to make sure technology is used in a way that benefits all students and creates a fairer education system.
Well said. One last thing I want to say is that technology is just a tool. The most important things are the passion of teachers, the curiosity of students, and the relationships they build. Technology can help with these connections, but it can never replace them.
That's a great point. Thank you for exploring the future of higher education with us today. It's been an enlightening conversation.
It was my pleasure.
And for everyone listening, please don't forget to follow the European Association for Higher Education Advancement on YouTube and social media.